It's Thursday, June 17th, 2021, 6:48 a.m. and we are opening right below value in range of yesterday and right around the point of control from Tuesday. So we are fairly balanced here. So in the overnight session, we came up to yesterday's point of control and rejected at 72.30, right around here, right around this area. And then we've been moving lower. Expectation would be to come down, and we had put in these lows here fairly recently on increased volume. Excuse me, the largest volume from the overnight session, so I'll be watching this closely. And that's really about it. Nothing too exciting or worth noting here. The areas of interest here are obviously how we're going to continue to handle yesterday's value area. Are we going to hold this, or are we going to move lower? If so, if we test lower, I would expect an overnight low test at some point. And on the other side of that, a possible test to move higher into the overnight high here, which is also the point of control and value from yesterday. And then yesterday's value area high at 72.50. Those will be key areas to watch. And then all the way up into that 73 round number, which is the high, not only the high of yesterday, the high of the recent trades range, but also a multi-year high now. On the 15-minute, yesterday's range when we came above Tuesday's highs, this 72.83 area, we definitely found supply, definitely found sellers up here and sold off sharply. And then we've just been kind of grinding back up through, and then now the overnight session at 4, this was the first test back into these highs here. And so now we have this supply that's been tested up to here. So all this is untested. And as far as the downside, we definitely have room to the downside. This has all been tested, this demand area. This was the last significant buyer that we really found here. And then down into this area here. So this is untested here. Untested demand. And that's down into kind of this low volume area as well, unfair price. I'm long here at 21. Expectation is for us to break this overnight high here. It's not necessarily the overnight high, but it's the most recent overnight. It's the most recent high, and this also the point of control from yesterday. So, and then we have this untested supply above here, which is a little bit risky, but we'll see what happens when we break. I'm just looking for a flush here of these highs in the point of control. So would like to get this up into the 50, but I'll be looking to take off, anywhere in that 15, 20 tick mark. Definitely accepting price here. It's bouncing around. So to me, that seems like this is very likely to break higher. And you say, well, why'd you finally get long after 80 tick rally? Just didn't have much other opportunity before that. There was going to be a lot of people playing this breakout as well. So we've got to see if this is just going to be a flush for shorts to step back in here and reverse price, or are we going to hold this area and move back up into higher prices? We'll see. So that wasn't really much of a flush yet, but we should see some stops up here, and then also other breakout traders jumping on the long here, expecting further breakup, but that wasn't really much of a reaction. I was hoping for a little bit better than that. It looks like I'm going to get taken out here for a break even. I am short, and this trigger here, we pushed down into the structure here and then made this last attempt back up to the volume, and then on this trigger I got short here Now this is kind of counter context, and we'll see if it's going to hold or not, but I'm going to manage it pretty tight here and see if we can break down through that volume and get back down to the 72 round number. That's my idea on this trade. It has got to go here or I'm going to kill it. I'm managing it real tight. I got my stop down to 22, so that'll be a 3-tick loss on that, but it's just getting stuck here. So one more test down into this volume. If it can't drop through this area, I'll kill the trade. And there was that release that I was looking for. So now I want to see if we got to push this low here. That was the first attempt back into the structure here. So expectation would be still that this could hold, but with all this space, I definitely can see us coming back down to this round number. So this is definitely counter context trade and on the aggressive side, but with the big basically 80 tick move, even if we do move higher, my expectation would be to visit and fill in some of this space first. And as soon as we flush this low, I'll get the rest of my risk off. And then we can see that this is now trouble from below, this 13. So I would like to see that hold and to move lower. It's looking good so far. And I've just covered my risk now. And we'll see if we can finish it off. Nothing really for me to do here. This structure should hold. My expectation is that the structure will hold now from below and that we will move back down here, at least into a test of the 72. So I'm not going to lock in any profit on this. It's either going to be, it's going to hit. We'll see what happens when it gets right around down to the 72. I'll take it off in front of the 72 at 72.01. See if we can get there. That's also a very thinly traded area. 71.99 is the thinnest area, so I'll take it off a couple ticks in front of that to see if I can get 72.01. That will likely be an area of interest for the other side and a pretty key pivot area here. Doesn't really seem to be wanting to cooperate, but it's feeling heavy. But if we get back up into that 72.18 area, I wouldn't be surprised, and that's going to take me out of this trade. But might be the last kind of flush higher there, but I fully expect if this doesn't hold to get taken out. But I don't see any reason why this, if this structure holds from below, that we won't see prices. So I'm just going to hold on to it and see if we can get down through it. This is a hard area, but nothing in the trade has changed at all. So I like that. I still like the short here to push down, and it's looking good. You just got to hold through the discomfort of this. Nothing's really changing on volume. It's all pretty low here. So if I saw some real big increases in volume, but nothing is changing. So that was just a kind of a little push up, test back up into this range above, and we should see a push down and some kind of flush here. That would be my expectation. And there she goes, down to the 72.01. It looks like it's going to continue to go, but that's okay. I'm trading to my targets. That's what my goal is right now, is to trade to targets. And you can see this structure is what I was trading to. So now coming into this structure, low volume area here, this will be, or potentially could be, an area that will act as a flip area. And now as far as the longs are, definitely have some issues here as far as trading back up into this structure and value above, and I would expect to see some of this more space could be potentially filled in even back down to this 88 area, and we'll see what happens. But we can see what happened here is we rejected yesterday's point of control when we came up, and we just high ticked this overnight high area. We can call this I will call this an overnight high. But overall, good trade. I think that was 18 or 19 I took off. I had an order to go long here. after this trigger here, we had, well, first of all, we had this crazy amount of random volume that came in. I didn't find really any news or anything of any note. And then after that settled out, we pushed up into this area, came back, and we're just kind of chopping around the 72 round number. Came down, low ticked here, and then pushed up, and we had this imbalance trigger here. I tried to get it back at 72.04, which I thought was reasonable to have a small pullback to the 72.04 to go long, and then at least to break these highs and then get it into this range here. And we didn't quite get there. Got a pull back to 72.06 after this. This was the trigger. 72.06, only 3 contracts or so traded here, so I missed it by a few ticks. So I just had this massive drop out of nowhere. 300 ticks about. I mean, crazy. I almost left the screen. It was just getting, thought it was going to be pretty choppy and bouncy, and then we just sold off so hard. I tried a couple of longs here on the way down. Not very good. Lost 11 and 5. And just trying to play the order flow and the volume. And when we put in some structure, I tried to jump it a little bit. Probably could have been too early. And we also had this, I'm trying to watch and find out where price was likely to step back in, and we just came through all of this liquidity. We just flushed all of these lows here, all of these lows, all the way down, and came down to this area. I mean, this area isn't anything significant at all. My expectation was to come down and into this untested demand. We didn't quite get there, and then I finally seemed like we were getting fairly exhausted here. We put in this last kind of final push down here, really high volume here, and then came down below this, flushed it again, and it just looked like we weren't gonna be able to make it without any kind of real new demand coming in. And then we pushed all the way back up to the 70 round number, and at that point I took a long here around 88. It was about the same, my last one at 1041 at 89. That was here, and I managed it pretty tight. I didn't want to see these lows flushed again, so I took a -5 at 89, 85. So just barely took me out here. And then when we held this low here, I grabbed another long at 88 here, and then we pushed and we flushed hard. And my expectation was for these highs to break, and then all of this to kind of come back in. And now we've pushed all the way back up into the 25, and that's this structure here to the left. And at some point, I expect probably to see this. This is a pretty big, significant structure. That's what I was thinking. I could have taken my trade up into this area, into this 36 at first, but then when it broke here, I was up 10, 20, and then 30. I was up, let's see, 88, almost 40 ticks here, and then I locked in 30, and I got taken out on this pushback down to 08 for 18 for a +30. So nice trade. That's definitely going to be it for me. I know I say that a lot, and then I take more trades, but that puts me with the losses, that puts me up 32 on the day. So I'll take that. Would have loved to have participated in some of that, some of the short. I was a little tired, kind of falling asleep a little bit, honestly, and I didn't catch any of this move on the break of the overnight lows. I should have definitely been here. After this area here, I was trying to get short, actually, and then it just broke down, and I didn't have anything to grab here. But overall, good day.